Forgot to add myself there. That's the second time I've done that. When you use StreamYard, you have to add yourself to the screen, and I always forget. Anyway, hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Social Sessions. Today, on a Friday instead of the usual Wednesday, and the reason for that is because I am doing this live as part of my 31-day consistency challenge that's happening over in my Facebook group called Social Media Strategies for Small Businesses. If you are a small business owner and you're looking to kind of start boosting your consistency, showing up more regularly on social media, getting more engagement, getting more visibility, getting more leads, contact, sales, all of that good stuff, then make sure that you are over in the Facebook group so that you can take part in the challenge. It's completely free. You don't even have to sign up for an email list or anything. You just have to join the group and you will get access. I'm doing daily post prompts, helping people to kind of get some inspiration on what they can post. And we're all kind of keeping each other accountable. We're supporting each other's posts. So it's a great way to go into 2020 and kind of start strong with your social media. So now I've done the plug. Quick swig of water. And yes, so today's episode is all about how you can boost engagement on your Facebook page. And I've got 3 quick tips for you. They're all super simple, but super, super effective. They really, really work. And it's amazing how many people aren't doing these things. So without further ado, I shall quickly introduce myself and then I shall dive into the good stuff. So my name is Colette Broomhead, as the name of this page suggests. And I'm a social media strategist. I've had my own business now for about 3.5 years. And before that, I worked in corporate for 13 years. In a number, oh, look at that. I've sent the focus of my camera all funny. I think it's better. Yes, while I was in corporate, I worked in a number of marketing roles, product marketing, email marketing, customer relationship management, product marketing. Did I say that already? I think I did. And I basically left to start my own business mainly because I wanted to have more time with my family and I wanted to have kind of more balance in my life. And that's exactly what I've got now. I get to work from home, I get to do the school runs and all of that stuff. And so I am really passionate about helping other people to get that same freedom in their lives too, which is why I do what I do. So without further ado, let's dive into our 3 top tips on how you can boost engagement on your Facebook page. Tip number 1 is very topical, considering my current challenge. And tip number 1 is just posting consistently. You will get more engagement if you are showing up consistently. If you're just posting once in a blue moon, people will have forgotten about you. And so, your posts aren't going to be shown that widely in the feed. The algorithm is fed really by engagement. So the more you're posting, the more engagement you're getting. The more the algorithm loves you, the more it shows your stuff to more people, and so the more engagement you get. And so it's kind of like a cycle. So that's why it's so important, if you want to kind of get the momentum going with social media, that you do post consistently. My recommendation is to post at least once a day. But different people will say different things. But yeah, for me, at least once a day it isn't going to be too much, certainly. And it just keeps you in people's minds, it keeps you in people's feeds, and it kind of feeds the algorithm as well, the good old algorithm. So that's tip number 1, is make sure that you are posting consistently. And this is something that people struggle with. It's a habit. It's something that you have to kind of develop and kind of add into your routine, because if you don't, you won't post consistently and you'll always be struggling to kind of get that momentum going with social. So if it is something that you struggle with, do get yourself over into my Facebook group, social media strategies for small businesses. I can post a link in the comments actually, and get involved with this challenge. It's not too late. We're 3 days in, but you can start anytime, and you'll have the benefit of those daily post prompts. I'm there to give feedback, to answer questions. You've got a group of other people to help keep you accountable and to come and support your posts as well. So it'll really help to kind of get you to kind of shape those habits and go into 2020 consistently. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, and this is a really, really simple one. Make sure that when you're planning out your social media, that you plan in amongst your kind of promotional posts and your, all the other posts that you're doing, just some simple questions. Because if you want to get people to engage, the best way to do that is to ask them questions. People, especially on social media, we love to talk about ourselves. We love to give our opinion on something. We love to kind of share our thoughts and to tell people something about ourselves. So it doesn't, just simple questions, conversation starters, essentially. Now, for the most part, it makes sense to make these related to your niche. So, for example, on this page, you'll see that I post questions like, how often do you post on Facebook? Or describe your business in 3 words. Just really simple questions that are easy to answer. Yesterday's post prompt for our challenge was to do a this or this type question. So again, on my page, if you have a look at yesterday's post, I asked the question, books or audio? So it doesn't need to be tricky. In fact, the easier it is for people to answer, the more engagement you'll get. But that really, really helps to get people commenting. And as soon as someone comments on your page, they're more likely to see the rest of your content, because Facebook takes that as a sign that they're interested in the content on your page. And so they'll start to show them more of it. So that's why it's such an important thing to get people to engage on your page, to get people involved. And asking questions is a fantastic way to do that. So when you're planning out your content, think about some just nice, easy, topical questions you can ask your audience. And another great benefit is that it gives you a way to learn about your audience and find out what their preferences are, and feed that then into your strategy when it comes to planning your content. So that's tip number 2. And my final tip, and this is like, when I say it, it almost sounds so simple that you kind of be like, okay, but it amazes me how many people don't do this. And it's such a simple thing to do, but it makes such a difference. And that is, when someone comments on one of your posts, reply to them. It's social media, reply to them. If someone takes the trouble to comment on one of your posts, then answer them. And there are so many benefits to this. A, it's just, polite. If they're taking the trouble to kind of say something to you, reply, as you would in normal conversation. If someone stopped in the street and said something to you, you wouldn't just kind of walk on by and completely ignore them. But also, your comments count as engagement too. And so that in itself is going to boost engagement. A third little kind of related trick is, when you reply, try asking a follow-up question. So actually what you're doing is you're then encouraging further comments. You're encouraging a whole conversation. And that's where your engagement suddenly blows up, because then potentially you've got someone else who then wants to, who sees those comments and wants to get involved. So that's a really, really good way to kind of keep the conversation going, and really get that engagement going. And again, the more someone engages and comments on your posts, the more of your stuff they're going to see in the future. And the more they're going to remember you as well. Because if you comment on someone's page and then someone actually replies to you and you end up having a conversation with them, you remember that person, you remember that page. And basically what you've done is you've taken that relationship kind of another step down the line. So, you're going to be more in their minds. So those are my 3 tips. Tip number 1. Is to post consistently, post regularly, because if you're not doing that, people will forget you, the algorithm will forget you, and your page will die. Essentially, it's going to be very, very difficult to get that kind of consistent engagement going if you're only posting kind of once in a blue moon. Tip number 2, ask questions, get people talking, ask them their opinion on things, ask them about themselves, ask them anything, but in particular things related to your niche. And then tip number 3, reply to comments. And kind of uber tip related to that is reply to comments and ask follow-up questions so that you're actually kind of taking that conversation even further. So I hope that's helpful. If you haven't tried any of those things, or not all of them, then do go away and try them and let me know how you get on. And if you're not over in the Facebook group, Social Media Strategies for Small Businesses, get yourself in there and get started with us on the challenge. It's really good fun, and it's going to get you some momentum built up over January with your consistency and showing up every day and increasing your visibility. Okay, have a great evening, and I shall see you soon. Take care.